All right, we're recording.
Oh,
Yeah, see it right there. Recording.
look at that.
7.
8 seconds.
Yeah.
9, 10. I'm just going to keep reading the seconds.
Yeah. Hey, guys. We're finally doing this interview. I promised this back in July. It's been a while, but we're finally doing this.
Yeah, I was jerking him around a lot because I didn't want to download a program. So I was like, let me just come to your house. And he was like, okay.
Yeah, his mom lives like 17 minutes away from here, so.
Yeah, I was on my way to see my mom anyway. And I was like, I'll just stop by Vaughn's and do a podcast.
Yeah, in my nice big country house.
Yeah, he's got a really nice house.
Oh, yeah. Live out in the woods.
And a lot of books.
I do. I think they fell over down.
Yeah, I heard some books fall.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that
It's
later.
The Ghost of George Carlin.
Yeah, well, I do have a George Carlin autobiography, so probably. Alrighty, Tim, how's your day been?
It's been all right. Hung out with my girlfriend's dogs, and then just drove from Cleveland to Warren, so it's been a good day.
That's good. Well, since it's my first comedy interview podcast, I like to start off with asking you, what are your comedic influences? I already know a lot of them, but probably a lot of people here don't know.
Well, I started out listening to Bill Hicks, and then I started listening to Louis C.K., and then I started listening to Doug Stanhope, and then I'd say Stanhope, Louis, and then like Dave Chappelle are my big three, and then Bill Hicks was just kind of like the beginning of it. I still like Hicks, but I just like not really like into the political comedy as much, and so I just like goofy like Louis C.K. type stuff now.
Yeah, and then can't forget Norm Macdonald.
Oh yeah, I always forget Norm when I'm doing stand because it's like I always liked Norm as a person, but I never listened to his stand up. And then like when he died, I like got into his stand up more. So, but yeah, whenever I talk about that, I always forget Norm. But yeah, he was one of the best.
Oh yeah, really great. I found out about Norm because you'll be on, because I found out a lot of the things I like through the internet. That's a great thing about the internet. You can just find things you like through that.
Yeah.
And I found out about Norm, like I heard his name or something like that. And then I think probably in the late 2010s, like 2017, 2018, I don't know, I probably on YouTube or something, I just started coming across Norm Macdonald clips. And I started enjoying them.
Yeah.
And there's a YouTuber named I'm Not Norm, which is just a Norm Macdonald fan. And she basically posts all these like Norm Macdonald related videos. And there's one in which he's going on about Hitler. Like there's compilations of all his like Hitler jokes.
Yeah.
And what have you. And it's quite funny. And that's how I became a fan of him. And I'm like, oh, he's really funny.
It's funny because the I Am Not Norm channel, everybody thought when Norm was alive that it was him, and he was just trolling by saying it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then when he died and they kept posting, they were like, oh, he really isn't. They really aren't Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, because I think it is a girl that does it, because there's like, there'll be merchandise sometimes at the end of the videos, and it's like primarily this woman that has like these Norm Macdonald related shirts, like Professor Logic and everything. I'm like, oh, I think she runs that account. That's her little pet project, and what have you. And yeah, man, I would say he is the top two Canadian comedians. Him and Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah, Jim Carrey. Yeah, Jim Carrey did stand up for like a little bit, and then it was like that Steve Martin thing where he was like so good he had to just immediately move to movies.
Yeah, it seems like, sometimes you get bored with just doing stand up, and when you get an opportunity, you're like, I want to do something different.
Well, Jim Carrey's thing was like he wrote that check for $1 million to himself before he got famous.
Yeah.
And he like wanted to cash that. And I guess to do that, you can't like just stick to stand up.
Yeah.
So I guess if you get into comedy because you want to cash a blank check for $1 million, then you have to do movies because it's going to take a long time to get to $1 million.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He, there's, like, I'm sure you saw the Comedy Store documentary, right? It was like a 4-parter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's in there, and they talk about him, and I've seen some old clips of him, and yeah, he was like very, very cartoony and very funny, and he did Sam Kinison and Robin Williams and all that.
Yeah. When I started stand-up, I wrote a check for $20, and I'm still trying to cash it. I can't get the cash.
That's a shame.
Yeah, that's all right. It's coming up, though. So I'm coming on 13 years. I figure I'll be able to cash that $20 check eventually.
Yeah.
I can't get this in the shot right because you're not sponsored by them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm a non-advertisement.
This is RC Cola.
Yeah. It sure is. Yeah, I know before he went into movies for a while, and you could say he really helped make the show was Living Color, because he was the only white cast member on that show. It's kind of like a opposite of SNL, because what's his name? The very first black cast member on SNL. I'm trying to think of the dude's name.
Kenan Thompson. That's it was a woman, right?
It was a guy.
Oh, it was a guy?
Yeah. Can't think of his name right now.
Clarence Thomas. Wait, let me look it up. We have phones.
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm gonna look up first black cast member on SNL. First black cast member, SNL. It was Garrett Morris.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Known for characters like Chico Escuela. Man, I wish my name was Chico Escuela.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the first black SNL cast member. And as far from what I recall, he didn't even understand why he was on the show. He's like, why do you guys have me on the show? Because he came from like a theater background, and he was more of a serious actor. And he's like, why are you guys having me on the show? I guess he had comedic chops, so that's why they had him on. If you didn't know, a lot of the original cast members on SNL, a lot of them were previously worked for National Lampoon magazine.
Oh yeah. I would imagine.
They did the radio show and the stage shows like Lemon Winks and have you or Limericks. Yeah, not Lemmy Winks. That's the rat from South Park, or a hamster or whatever the fuck he is. But Limericks. Yeah, John Belushi and all of them did that, and then SNL came around, and Lorne Michaels was doing his thing. He's like, I'm taking all your people. And also there was like some hostility between some members, like Michael O'Donoghue, who was the very first head writer of SNL. He came from National Lampoon.
Oh yeah. I think I heard about that.
Yeah.
It amazes me that I know it just amazes me that Lorne Michaels is still alive.
Yeah, he's in his
he's gonna be 70s. It's just weird because SNL's been on so long.
Yeah, since 75.
And you're like, oh, the guy that started that has to be dead, but he's not.
Yeah, he was there for the first 5 years, from 75 to 80. And I guess, I don't know, he didn't really want to do it anymore. So from 80 to 85, he was gone. Of course, he returned, but from 80 to 85, he was gone. And I believe the guy that took over him, or that took over him at first, and then Dick Ebersol took over, which, Larry David has a hilarious story about him.
What's Larry David's story about him?
Oh, how Larry David, he worked for I think 2 or 3 seasons. I think only 2 seasons on SNL as a writer. Was never really a cast member. And he could never get any of his sketches on air. And he only got one on there, and it was last 2 or 3 sketches, and it was aired at midnight. And he was just frustrated, so he went up to Dick Ebersol, and he's like, "This show fucking sucks. It sucks."
He quit, and then he came back the next day, right? Or he came back Monday and pretended like it didn't happen.
Yeah, which is a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah, I bet a lot of those Seinfeld episodes were just like stories from back in those days.
Yeah, if you go through the YouTube, because there's because when I was doing a video about Larry David, I got in a habit of just watching all these videos that were related to Seinfeld, and it was all these kind of neat little stories behind episodes, and how a lot of them were based upon things that happened to the writers and creators and what have you, like the contests in which they were trying to go without masturbating for the longest. That's based on something that Larry David did with his friends.
Yeah. The theory that I heard about Seinfeld is that I like the most is that Larry David always thought Seinfeld wasn't a very good comedian, and that was the point of the show, is that he was a bad comedian. And like Jerry just thought, like, he loves me and he wants me to do the show with him. And I like thinking that Larry David has just been trolling Jerry Seinfeld for like 40 years about that.
And that's funny. Yeah, I think both of them really helped make the show. I mean, even when Larry left after season 7, there are a lot of solid episodes in season 8 and 9. I mean, it did go more surreal,
Yeah.
And what have you, but there's a lot of solid episodes and classic episodes within those 2 seasons. And, you know, of course, it was wise for Jerry that it just ended after 9. He's like, let's not overstay our welcome. Let's just end it.
So you probably know about the beef between Seinfeld and Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh yeah, I heard about that because
like Bobcat, I think he said something about Jerry Seinfeld sucks like in the 90s, and Jerry Seinfeld just never got over it. And then he was on Comedians with Cars.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how much he sucks.
Oh yeah.
And then they asked Bobcat for his opinion, and he was like, I mean, he says I'm not talented, but I could say that his only talent is that he knows Larry David.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, because they bleeped it. It was on, comedians in cars getting coffee, and I forget. He was with a woman.
I think it's Bridget Everett.
Yeah, something like that. And she's like, I think she brought up his name, and the name was bleeped. But I guess people figure it out by just them mouthing. And yeah, she said his name, got bleeped, and then Jerry's like, I don't like him. And went on a little bit about that. It wasn't too long, but he went on a little bit about how he didn't like him.
It's kind of refreshing to know that even like comedians as big as Jerry Seinfeld still hold like grudges that are just like so silly.
Yeah.
It's like you can make all that money and be that famous, but you still are just like, fuck Bobcat Goldthwait. And you're like,
yeah.
It's still like, you think that at a certain point you just like wipe that from your brain, but it's like now you always keep a list in your head of who you don't like.
Yeah, that happened with because for the longest time they were friends and they worked together. It was Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. They fell apart after Groundhog Day because they had different ideas of what they wanted the movie to be. I think Bill Murray wanted it to be, very philosophical leaning and everything with, comedy attached to it. But, Harold Ramis wanted it to be more of a comedy. And they didn't get along at all because of the creative difference. And for close to 20 years, they didn't talk to each other. Then, Harold wasn't doing well health-wise, and he was living back in Chicago. And so Bill wanted to make up with him. And I think this was within the year that he passed away, like some months after this, Harold passed away. But essentially, Bill went to the Chicago Police Department, and he's like, take me to where Harold Ramis lives. And they did just that. They put him in the back, and they drove to his house.
Oh, just to like say goodbye to him?
Well, to make up and everything and talk. Catch up on old times.
Is that the reason why Bill Murray didn't do like any of the Ghostbusters like revivals at first, like while Ramis was alive? Or was it just like he didn't want to do another Ghostbusters?
I'm not sure about that, to be honest, because I know they did the one that people hate, the 2016 one.
Yeah.
And they did the ones after that, which were more of a follow-up to the first two.
Because I think Bill Murray only did the like new Ghostbusters after Harold Ramis was already dead, and it was like people were just like, man, if you had done this when he was alive, he would have been so happy.
Yeah, but it was too little, too late. But at least he made up with him before he passed.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a very Bill Murray thing to do. Just go to the police station, like, take me to this person's house. Because I have a book over at my shelf there, which it's about Bill Murray and all these like crazy things he would do. Like, I guess Bill Murray used to have a joke, and Louis C.K. ended up having like a similar joke to it. And when Bill Murray said like, "Oh, I'll be at like a McDonald's," and I would go up to like a random stranger and steal their fry. And that person would like tell their friend, like, Bill Murray stole my fry at McDonald's. And, they wouldn't believe him because it would just be too outlandish. But,
yeah, Louis had that joke about Obama. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. It was, I know that joke was deleted off of that special.
Yeah.
But,
Oh my God. Yeah.
yeah, but you can find that deleted scene in there. I mean, it's a similar concept, but it's done differently. Like, yeah, Obama just goes into your front yard and shits.
Yeah. He's always gonna believe you.
Yeah. Yeah, but
You think Bill Murray's gonna do that with Chevy Chase when he's on his deathbed?
maybe. I mean, I know they've had a rough patch before, but I know that Chevy has talked kind of well about Bill. He's like, I like Billy. He always calls him Billy. He doesn't say Billy, just Billy. And I guess they do get along. I mean, Chevy is a very, very bipolar mixed bag. There's that one video in which he's on Howard Stern, and they're talking about SNL, and he's like, oh no, Dan Aykroyd was the best comedian on SNL back then, and what have you. And somebody mentioned in the comments, like, well, if Chevy Chase was this humble all the time, then nobody would have a problem with him. But no, he has to have these like very bad movements and be racist occasionally.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Chevy Chase documentary. Have you?
I haven't. I've heard that the director said, like, I haven't met a rudest person in all my life.
Yeah, it's like because that was his gimmick at the beginning when he did Weekend Update on SNL, where he'd be like, "I'm Chevy Chase and you're not."
Yeah.
And it's like, I wonder how much of that was just like his actual personality, and how much of it was like, I've been this person on screen so many times, I just got to keep being that even off screen. Like, yeah. I always wonder that how much like a person's personality bleeds into like their work so much, or if it's the other way around.
Yeah, I'd say
because like Larry David has that thing too, where whenever he's out in public, people expect him to be like misanthropic and angry about like all that small shit.
I think it's just his like kind of dark thoughts. He's like his more inappropriate thoughts, and like, let's just do this on a TV show instead of real life, because people would, not like me if I did this.
He's probably like that all the time, Larry David, because I heard that story about I forget who was telling it. I think it might have been Simon Rex on a podcast, but he said he was like at a driving range and Larry David was in front of him, and he was trying to buy a bucket of golf balls. Have you heard this story?
I don't think so.
Larry David was trying to buy a bucket of golf balls, and the lady's like $11, and she didn't know that it was Larry David, but Simon Rex did. Yeah. And so he's like, Larry David's like, why is it 11? Why not just like 10? Why do you? Why is it gonna? Why can't it can't just be like a regular even number? I gotta give you 10 and then plus $1.
Yeah.
And Simon Rex is like looking around, like, does anybody else see that we're in a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode right now?
Yeah. I mean, that's more like kind of more innocent rather than kind of the more extreme stuff on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And what have you. I know there's that video in which it was shared on like I don't know if it was on Conan or one other of those late night shows in which somebody took a video of because I guess Larry was trying to get out of a parking garage, and someone was behind him, and they're like, "Oh shit, that's Larry David!" And he started recording him, and I guess Larry David was trying to like get the gate open like manually or something like that. I forget entirely what it was, but it had to do with something with a parking garage not getting him out. So I think with the gate being messed up or whatever, but they're like kind of, it seems like there's kind of somewhat of a truth to Larry David's neurosis.
Yeah.
I would like to say Larry David's like Woody Allen minus the pedophilia.
Yeah. That's probably an accurate description.
Even though he's a big Woody Allen fender, Larry David is. He said, he's like, I don't think he did anything wrong. I'm like, I think he did everything wrong.
Yeah, I was never a big Woody Allen person.
I think he's a talented guy, and I've seen some of his movies and whatnot. But yeah, let's be honest. Dating your girlfriend's adopted daughter after 13 years being with her, knowing her as a kid and everything—that's very fucking weird.
Yeah. And then all that stuff that came out about him with Mia Farrow and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I liked Match Point, that one Woody Allen movie with Scarlett Johansson, where it's about tennis.
Yeah.
But I tried to watch Annie Hall, and I couldn't like get into it. And
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to like when I don't like a movie or something, I can still tell that it's good. That I just don't like it, and that was one of those movies where I'm like, I know this is good, but I just don't. I don't get it, and I don't care for it.
And I saw Manhattan as well, and that's kind of closer to.
Oh yeah.
getting closer to life, because if guys don't know, in that movie, he has a 17-year-old girlfriend in there, and it's like, oh, well, this seems like it's foretelling something in the future. But it's still a good movie. If you kind of eliminate that from your mind, it's like, all right, this is a good movie. But still, it is strange. You do think about that if you watch that movie.
Yeah, Louis C.K. loves Woody Allen, and then it's like you put those two together, and it's just like a Me Too nightmare.
I know. Yes, if you didn't know this, after we're done with this podcast, I'm going to show Tim here some classic Simpsons episodes.
I haven't watched much Simpsons in my life, actually.
Yeah, showing him some of the best comedy writers come together. See, Tim, if you're not on my little podcast here, for me, I'm, after our podcast, I'm going to have you watch The Simpsons. If you're doing Louis C.K.'s podcast, he'll have you watch a masturbate.
Yeah.
I thought about that about last week. I'm like, I want to say this to Tim.
That would be a perfect Louis C.K. podcast. You just go on and he jerks off and nobody says anything, and then it ends.
Yeah.
It's like today's guest is somebody that isn't going to be upset about this. Sarah Silverman.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, he jerked off in front of me, and I just let him.
Yeah.
I guess he did that in front of her sister as well. I think she mentioned her sister. That happened to her sister as well.
It's funny because I don't think people understand how depraved comedians are in general. Just to be able to do it, you have to have a pretty dark, maybe not to the level of Woody Allen or what
Bill Cosby.
What Louis did, but Bill Cosby.
One. Yeah. Oh, well, go ahead.
There aren't a lot of well-balanced people that do comedy.
And
if they seem well-balanced, people thought Bill Cosby was really nice for decades, and then they find out that, and it's like, oh. And it's just, I think it almost comes with the territory.
Yeah.
You're just you just in order to be able to do that, you have to disassociate yourself from morality at some point.
And Pryor did a lot of fucked up things behind closed doors as well. His backstory was his mom was a prostitute, his dad was a pimp, and a lot of his uncles were pimps as well. And he obviously didn't grow up in a very stable household, probably abusive, physically and mentally and emotionally. And also, I know he had 9 fucking wives, I think.
Yeah.
Or he had a lot of wives and a lot of kids as well. And also,
set himself on fire.
Yeah, set himself on fire. I know there's a story in which he pulled the gun on one of his ex-wives. I haven't gone too deep into that story, but I heard Jim Norton bring it up that it's Pryor pulled the gun on his wife, and what have you. And Pryor, that's one thing that ties Pryor and Marlon Brando together, of not being in stable relationships, because both of them had a lot of wives and a lot of kids. Yeah. And they both were bisexual, and they fucked each other.
Yeah, has that been confirmed, or was that just a rumor?
Brando's son denies it. Pryor's, I believe, either his son or daughter says, yeah, it's true. But, both men have admitted, basically, publicly, that they've had sexual relations with men.
Yeah.
In that 1971 video of Pryor, he basically admitted to sucking dick, essentially.
Oh, is that the Live and Smoking album?
Yeah, no, I believe it's that. I was thinking Live at Sunset Strip, but that's
it's the one in that basement where he's got the Comedy Cellar chalkboard in the background.
Yeah, that's a great bit, and what have you. And then, he admits to that and there. And then there's other few instances throughout his career in which there's a admission that he's sucked dick and what have you. And then, Marlon Brando in 1977, I don't know if it was a French or German newspaper, they were interviewing him, and he's like, I've had homosexual relations, and what have you. And from what I know, both of them were very big fuck machines, essentially. They couldn't stop fucking, which, the amount of wives they had proves that.
I bet if James Dean had gotten old enough to talk about sucking dick, he probably did that too.
Yeah. Sounds about right. since it's getting close to a quarter into this, let's start with your beginnings.
Okay.
Because we started with your influences and we got sidetracked to talking about other stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, that happens when you have these conversations. But let's talk about the Tim Wolfe beginnings.
Okay. Well, I was working in a movie theater in 2012, and I had a coworker named Chris Wineland who did comedy, and he thought I was funny, like in the theater, like just talking. And he's like, "Have you ever thought about doing stand-up?" And I said, "I've thought about it, but I don't think I'd be able to like get in front of people and actually do it." And he's like, "What if I signed you up for an open mic? Would you do it?" And I said, "I guess." And I didn't think that he would ever do that. And then the one time he came in and he's like, "I signed you up for this open mic. It's on Wednesday." And, or maybe it was Monday. It was one of those days. And so he signed me up for this open mic, and I had no idea what I was going to talk about. So I just went, and I had my blazer on that I still wear. And I just talked about my ex-girlfriend for like 5 minutes, and people laughed. And Eric Cribley was in the crowd, and his laugh just makes you seem like you're crushing, even if you're like not being that funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically just started with somebody signing me up against my will to do comedy, and then I just kept doing it because I was enjoying it more the more I did it, and I'm like, I got to keep doing this to get better. And then now we're 14 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I told you a week ago, I'm like, you and Martin Malloy, you gotta go on tour together because you guys are both like really fucking funny, and you should go on tour together. And I mean, if it was me, I would name the tour the Schizo and Depresso tour.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And
I've never been in a car with Marty, actually.
Yeah, that would be very interesting because Marty's a very interesting guy, and I suspect sometimes he's on the spectrum because there's things he does like I would do that.
I feel like Marty is the spectrum. He's not just on it. He is the spectrum.
Yeah, he's a physical manifestation of autism.
Yeah, he'll just be like, he's like, "Tim, you still working at PetSmart?" And I'm like,
yeah, he would do that.
I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Okay," and then he turns around and leaves, and it's like, I don't know, he's taking a survey.
Yeah, he's like that. He's a good guy though.
He's a nice guy. Yeah, I like Marty.
Oh yeah. And yeah, what was the stand-up scene like back then? Wasn't too different now, or what was it like?
Back then, it was like driving from Youngstown to Cleveland, because it was like all my friends were laughing at me in Youngstown, but I didn't know anybody in Cleveland. So it's like, if I want to get really good, I got to make people that don't already know me laugh.
Yeah.
So then I started trying to do more Cleveland comedy, and then they ended up liking me. And then I was like, I should move there one day. And then, so yeah, back then it was just kind of doing these like local bar shows in Youngstown, and like it was my friends would come out from work at the theater at that time. And so it was mainly just like when I started, I said I need to write a new like 5 or 10 minutes, however long it was, every week, because I don't want my friends to like hear the same jokes over and over again. So then I got in the habit of just writing new jokes all the time, and then like I ended up having a lot of material by the time like I was a year in or so. And then so it's basically like I was quality over quantity back then.
Yeah.
And now I'm quality over quantity.
Yeah.
So it's like I was writing like 20 mediocre jokes like a month, and I would have like 5 good ones.
Yeah.
And now I have like 20 good jokes every like couple years, because I'm just like, there's no way I can like be happy with these jokes if I do them over and over again. But then you write a joke that you really like, and then you think of something else. It's hard to like, you have that experience where you have a joke that you really like, but then you do it so much you're kind of like, I'm tired of doing this.
Yeah.
And then you try another joke, and people are like, I like that other joke that you don't like doing anymore. Oh. And then you're like, all right, so you go back to that one.
Yeah, I haven't done this joke in years, and I basically stopped doing it because at first I liked it, but then it wasn't really getting much laughs, and maybe on rare occasions we get laughs. It was my piece of cake joke.
Oh yeah, what was that one again?
It was oh, how did it go? It was I a friend of mine asked me if I could eat a piece of cake under 5 minutes, and I said that's a piece of cake.
Oh yeah.
It was something like that, and Justin Fuller, he really loves that joke, and every time I haven't seen him in a while, but every time I would go to Funny Stop and he would see me, he's like, "Do the piece of cake joke, do the piece of cake joke," and I would never do it because I'm like, oh, it's not going to get much of a laugh and everything and what have you. I haven't been to Funny Stop in quite a while because of I have my advanced acting class from 8 to like 9 something, and so I'll miss the Funny Stop.
Funny Stop's closing down. That's sad.
Yeah, aren't they getting bought out from somebody from Oklahoma?
Oh, did somebody so they've accepted like an offer from somebody?
Yeah, it seems like they're getting bought out from because I heard that from Bill Stone. So when the news came that Funny Stop, the current regime was going down, which was I think a week ago. I knew about that in October or November that was going to happen from Bill Stone because Bill heard through the grapevine that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And he said that he heard there's a seller from Oklahoma that owns some clubs, and they might sell that to him and what have you. And that would be nice, and it would be great if they keep the open mic and what have you.
He's going to helicopter that whole comedy club to Oklahoma. Just kind of attaches to his chopper and fly off with it.
Yeah.
That's weird because you wouldn't think of Oklahoma as like a comedy like market.
Yeah. I mean, I know there were stories of Bill Hicks going to Oklahoma because he was, from the Texas scene. Yeah. The Houston scene, and he would go up there and he would even shit on Oklahoma.
Yeah, the Elmer Dinkley residence.
Yeah. And I know the last 2 Louis episodes from his show, Louis, took place in Oklahoma. I think in Oklahoma City, and that was the 2-parter when Jim Florentine guest starred.
Oh yeah, where he dies.
Yeah, because he was basically in the episode he was like the local hack. Now in real life, Jim Florentine's very fucking funny. I've seen him before. He's really funny.
I'm going to Hawaii, yay! Yay! I'm going to Hawaii. That's Jim Florentine. Did you know that?
I did not
know.
From
Crank Anchors.
Oh, I haven't really watched that too much, but I'm sure it is.
The puppet show.
But he was in that 2-parter, and I know the club owner didn't like Louis, but he loved Florentine's character in it and everything. And then they started getting to know each other, and then they became like kind of friends. And Louis starts crying, and he's like, "I shouldn't find farts funny." Because there's a tiny hole and that noise comes out. And Jim Florentine's like, "Oh, have you ever tried to do a upper decker?" Which is the lid. If you guys don't know, it's like the lid of the toilet up front, where if the toilet gets clogged, you have to kind of do it in there. But he's like, he wanted to shit in there essentially, and it didn't work out well. And he hit his head and basically died.
Yeah, that was a funny episode.
Yeah, it was a good one.
I thought with the Louis allegations that if he did another season of Louis based off that would be the funniest season of the show.
Yeah.
But there's no way they would like give him money to do that. But
yeah,
if he could somehow do that independently, I think that would be amazing.
So I think it will be a long time until any network will allow him to actually work for them.
Yeah. The good thing is like everybody's so distracted by all this other shit going on now that I feel like Louis' transgressions are kind of getting like smaller and smaller. Where it's like, all right, the world is a shithole, so I mean, you might as well like jack off in front of people.
Yeah. I know. We can all agree that it was gross and everything. Like, it's not like Bill Cosby bad.
Yeah.
It's
like whenever you say there's a spectrum of that, they always say no, there isn't, but it's like there for sure is.
Yeah. It was. it's like on the low end. What Louis did, it wasn't good, but it's not like criminal and like deranged like Cosby. And there were a few comedians that got like I mean, there were people that, of course, deservedly got Me Too'd and everything. But then there were some people that were like, that shouldn't have happened, like Chris Hardwick.
Yeah.
He ended up losing a bunch of things, and it came out that like there was text messages between him and his accuser, and seems like he was basically like, go away. I don't like. She was like very pushy at him, and he's like, go away and everything. And I guess a lot of people went for back with him as well.
Yeah, Hardwick was like the first one I think that was kind of like vindicated by what came out about the situation.
Yeah. Then Aziz Ansari as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That was very bullshit as well. Like, so, I mean, if you read the story, you're like, I don't think she was really giving a strong hint that she didn't want to be there. She was giving him like mixed signals. She's like, oh, like just kind of wishy-washy. And then eventually she got to the point like, hey, just give me an Uber. And he's like, oh, okay, I can call you Uber. And I know his co-star on Parks and Rec, forget the actress's name. It's the black actress on that show. She ended up saying that she didn't think that article should have been published in the first place.
Yeah, that was like when they were just. I think they might have been like running out of stories at that point, so they just threw like everything at the wall to see what stuck, and then it was one of the Aziz things.
And yeah, that shouldn't have happened to Aziz.
Yeah.
It was like a bad date, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff was just kind of like, you have to. It's like if you're not completely on the side of like the victims, that means that you're against them. But it's like you can see both sides of every story, unless it's like you said, a situation like Cosby, where you're like, really, you can't see a different side to somebody falling asleep and then waking up with Bill Cosby in you.
Yeah, essentially.
But like, if it's like a power dynamic situation, those are always like blurry, because I feel like Louis is not the kind of person who felt like he ever really had power, even when he had it. It was always just kind of like he was scared of the fame and the celebrity, and then people were like, he's using that against us. It's like, I honestly think he might just be too dumb to know how powerful he is.
Yeah, maybe.
So then it's just like, and that's not like an excuse, but at the same time, it's like if they said yes and he thought that was yes, then what do you like? It's just there's like, people want to think there's no like nuance to any scenario.
Yeah.
That you can't see like both sides of whatever it happened.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like there's always like a her story, his story, and then the truth is like somewhere in the middle. And people don't want to acknowledge that. Yeah, so like her story is 100% right, his is wrong. It's like, well, that's never been the case ever. There's always like a mixture of things.
Unless you're Cosby.
Unless you're Cosby, then it is all her story.
Yeah, it's basically very simple in his case, or Harvey Weinstein or Kevin fucking Spacey.
Yeah, on that level, yeah.
Yeah, and what was it? Yeah, I even know, and I have to give props to Louis, because out of everyone that got Me Too'd, he was the only one that really came out right away, and he's like, I did this, and it was wrong. Yeah. Because it was a day after that article came out. He ended up, I don't know if it's with the New York Times or one of those big publications, he ended up penning an article for, and he basically, expressed that, like, what I did wasn't right, and so on and so forth. And he was like really the only one that did that. Like, a lot of people made fucking excuses. Like Kevin Spacey's like, I'm actually gay. Yeah. Focus on that instead of me raping fucking 20-something men.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey's homeless now.
Yeah. He lives in like B&Bs or whatever. Yeah. I know he was on like Lex Friedman's podcast, and I saw a clip of it because he was talking about acting, and my acting teacher ended up showing us it, and I saw like a headline from that podcast in which he's like, it's like, if Tarantino or David Fincher is listening, have me in your thing.
Yeah, he's just begging for roles now.
Yeah, which, I don't know, it's kind of hard to think that I'm sure he has money because of royalty checks. Like, he's done a lot of movies in which he'll get like royalty checks, even though he's in shambles career-wise.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe Kevin Spacey can't afford like his own place, even with all the legal bills.
Yeah, I mean, he can just get like a little apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he can get something like that because he has all these royalty checks from like Seven and all the other fucking movies he's done.
Shit.
And what have you. But one thing I want to bring up, and some people might not know about this, is the legendary Stone Tavern.
Oh, yeah.
And your beginnings there and its eventual closing.
Stone Tavern in Kent. That's where I opened for Eric Cribley on his album, and it's on YouTube. That's one of my favorite like shows that I've done.
Oh yeah, I really like that clip. It was a great one.
Yeah, I like those. I mean, some of those jokes I still do, but
yeah, there are some gold ones in there.
I started out wanting to do like the Anthony Jeselnik type jokes, so that's kind of what I was focusing on.
Yeah. So you guys trying to say he was an influence as well?
Oh yeah, Jeselnik, yeah. So then like after trying to do that, and you realize like, oh, I can't really do an entire album of this because I can't think of enough things. Then you start talking about your life. Yeah. And then when you start talking about your life, those like Jeselnik style jokes seem out of place.
Yeah.
Because you can't be like, my dad died also. My girlfriend's getting a little heavy. And I guess you can, but it's like, it's just funny that you can't. Like the blending of styles, like if Stephen Wright suddenly started doing like story jokes, people would be like, what?
Yeah.
So once you like are locked into us, do you feel that way? You can't really like. I know you're not really interested in doing story type jokes, but do you ever feel like boxed in now that you've been doing these one-liners for so long? You're like, I want to do other things, but I can't.
I've always been like a short kind of joke guy. I mean, I've had in the past when I was like, because I've been writing things since like 2014. Mm-hmm. It's been like close to 12 years now since I've been writing jokes, and like in the past it was much more longer shit. Basically, I would write because of the people I was watching, like Louis and Bill Burr and what have you, Bill Hicks. Yeah. They would all do like long format jokes, but then once I did find out about Mitch Hedberg. You could say he's like the biggest out of like the one-liner comedians. He was the first one I came across, and eventually, I think it was 2016, I came across Stephen Wright, and I fucking loved it. And it actually made me appreciate Mitch Hedberg a lot more.
Yeah.
So I did like Hedberg, but like once I discovered Stephen, I liked Hedberg a lot more. And then eventually I came across Emo Phillips.
Oh, yeah, Emo Phillips, yeah.
So what have you, and I mean, another problem with Jeselnik's style of comedy is that he's a fucking great joke writer. Don't get me wrong, he's very funny. Is that it gets one note basically.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, what another fucked up thing are we going to say now? It's like, all right, like that's. I mean, he's great at doing it, but it's kind of like it becomes one note essentially.
Yeah, he still has classic jokes on every special, but it's just like every special, I can guess more and more of the punchlines because his style is so like. Just pick whatever you think the worst thing that could happen on the set.
9/11, Holocaust, rape, murder, ethnic cleansing, pedophilia, cancer, and what have you. I mean, Emo Phillips, like out of the three of them, Hedberg, Stephen, and him, he does a lot of dark jokes, but it's like very dynamic. He'll do like dark jokes, and then he'll do kind of like surreal and witty, clean stuff like Stephen and Mitch do.
Yeah.
So he's quite dynamic, and that's what I like to go for. I don't really want to constantly do one type of thing because you don't want to really be one note. So I kind of, mix it around and what have you. I really usually save my darker jokes towards the end. I mean, some people might consider some of the things in the beginning to be dark, like my girlfriend's great grandma joke and what have you. But
what's your favorite joke that you've written?
I really love my spelling bee joke. Mm-hmm. That's one of my oldest jokes as well. Now in the beginning it wasn't always like the way it was. Like when I would say something like, "Can you use in the sentence?" Originally they would say the same thing as I said, and sometimes I would get a laugh, but not all the time. And then you came to me, and I brought up to you, like, what if you instead of doing that, they would like the spelling bee people would say like spell the word sentence and then just repeat that at the last thing, and so I'm like, all right, yeah, and it works better now.
Yeah, that joke reminds me of what Norm Macdonald said about the setup and punchline being the same.
Yeah,
and those are the best jokes because it's like you say the punchline at the setup, and then the punchline is also the same word.
And that's my same exact thinking, man. Funny enough, I was at High and Dry last week on Thursday, and I actually had a really great set. All my things I've been doing for a while, like some of the newish stuff and some of the older stuff. All got like a great laugh to them. Everything. I tried out 3 new ones and in a row, and nothing really. They didn't really work, which that happens.
Yeah.
But the ones that have been around for a while and get laughs, they worked and everything. And after I did that joke, I was like yeah, I like jokes that they start and then end the same way, but that is quite a clever way of doing things.
Yeah, the one I think the one Norm was talking about was when he did Weekend Update, and he's like, Lyle Lovett and Julia Roberts have gotten a divorce. The problem arose when she realized she was Julia Roberts and he was Lyle Lovett.
Yeah. And another favorite joke of mine is my sniper joke, which I usually close with now. I've always usually closed with that. And that joke in my the great grandma joke, my girlfriend's great grandma joke, those 2 jokes got like the biggest laughs I've ever had. Only once it got a really big laugh. The first one was the sniper one. There's an older iteration I had of it, and this was January 2020, so it's been about 6 years since that happened, and then 2 months later will be COVID happened, so that's how long ago that was. I was at Tom's place, and I closed with that joke, and I got a fucking huge ass laugh, and I came off and I might just win this.
Did you win it?
Yeah, I won it.
Nice.
I got $100.
Nice. So the Toth's Place thing it's like a contest, not like a showcase? Or do they also have showcases?
Usually around that time they would do a contest back then. That was my second time doing that contest when I won it. And and then I am going back to Toth's next week. It's been a long time since I've been there, but I'll be doing a showcase there.
Oh, that must be the one that Anthony Sabat's on, because I was talking to him at Eurogyro. I went there for like the first time in 4 years the other day.
I saw him on the list. I think he deleted his Facebook because I can't find him anymore.
Oh, did he? Yeah, I haven't seen him on Facebook in a while.
But he, he's doing a show there, and that got a big laugh. And then another show I did that with the great grandma and girlfriend joke. That got a big laugh when I did a fucking huge laugh, and it lingered for a while. And I'm like, oh, this is a great feeling when it just keeps on going and lingers for a while. Yeah. Was funny stuff. I was doing a guest spot there. Jason Malterno, I believe he was featuring. I forget who the headliner was. Gabe Gary was hosting. And I went up there and I did that joke and got a fucking huge ass laugh. And it lingered for a while. And I did that set and everything. And then afterwards, a very funny moment happened, which Jason would hang out by the door with his merchandise to see if anybody will give him money for merchandising and whatnot. And this guy, I think he was drunk because he acted a little bit drunk. He gave Jason $10 and he gave me $20.
Oh, look at that!
I know.
You made $10 more than Jason off his own merch.
Yeah, I don't think the guy paid for any merch. He just gave us money.
That's funny.
But yeah, that was a great moment.
That probably made you feel pretty good.
Oh, it did. I'm like, oh, I topped off Jason. That always kind of makes you feel good when you're in doing a show with other comedians, and there's one comedian that's really killer, and you kind of top them off in the show. It kind of makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, this is a confidence booster. That comedian's still funny, but this was a confidence booster. But with Stone Tavern days, what were those like? I know we sidetracked a bit. Like
Stone Tavern was really fun. I remember this one guy. I think he might still have a podcast, but I did his podcast, and he said he went to Stone Tavern every week for comedy back then, and that it was like the best show. And then he said that he got kicked out of Stone Tavern because he's like, I yelled the F word. And I said, you mean fuck? And he said, no, it was faggot. And I said, we're in private, you can say it out loud. Not wearing like a wire.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, but that was in the past. I was like, I had bigotries back then. And I was like, I don't know if that's ever meant that you're like homophobic, like that Louis joke where he's like, sometimes you just say it because it's a funny word.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not like, but anyway, the point is like back then people just yell shit like that out.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like a perfect snapshot of the times.
Yeah.
Because back then it was like, you could yell out stuff like that, and then you'd still get kicked out for saying it, but it was like a fun story.
Yeah.
And now it's like you say anything off base like that, and you can't. But Stone Tavern was the one place where I was like, man, you could say anything up here, and like it wouldn't, like, people would laugh.
Yeah, I know. Another place I remember that was like that. I never experienced it because I've never been out there and was never there during its glory days. Was the Cabaret show.
Oh yeah.
With David Cross and a bunch of them. And Bob Odenkirk mentioned that with that show, because they were talking about like controversial subjects and how when it comes down to like rape jokes and whatnot, which nobody really makes a fuss about rape jokes anymore for whatever reason. I haven't heard people make a fuss about that in a long time. But this was like 2013, 2014, and that's really when people were still touchy about that. I guess the Me Too movement made it fine to do rape jokes. I don't know.
Yeah, it took me it's almost been 14 years. It took me 14 years, but I finally have a joke about roofies that gets a laugh.
Oh, that's great.
And I feel good about it.
And that's awesome. I'm proud of you, Timmy. But I remember, he was I forget who the woman was, but they were talking, and he's like, "Oh, there's a he's like, there's a comedian he heard that did a joke about rape, and somebody in the audience basically went off about it, and there was a big scuffle and everything." And he's like, back in like the 90s when we were doing the Cabaret shows, we just went off basically. We just did whatever we wanted, like him and David Cross, Sarah Silverman, Margaret Chow, Patton Oswalt. They just did whatever they basically said, and like just went fucking nuts on stage. And he even talked about Mr. Show and how Mr. Show he would get uncomfortable sometimes because David Cross would have these sketch ideas, and Bob's like, "Are we making fun of the victim?" But it's David Cross, so I want to put it past him. I mean, David Cross is, he is like left leaning, but he's not PC at all. He's like, he just punches where the fucking joke's at.
Yeah, didn't he marry Amber Tamblyn when she was like really young?
Yeah, I think she's in her early 40s now.
Yeah.
And I know she's a bit like, she's left leaning as well, but she seems to be more of the kind of PC. And then you have David Cross, who's just not like that. It's, I guess, opposites attract.
Yeah, well, people are saying that about Bill Burr and his wife, that he's becoming more like progressive since he married a black woman. And it's like, I could kind of see that, but I can also see where he's done so many of the other jokes that now he feels like he has to do the other side.
Yeah.
Because you can only like really do the same, like he shit on like women a lot.
Yeah.
And then it's like you can only do so many of those jokes.
Yeah.
Before you have to kind of like switch to the other side and be like, guys, what are we doing with these women? We got to be nice. It's like if you do comedy long enough, you have to do it from like multiple perspectives or get really creative and come up with just like crazy nonsense things.
Yeah, you can only do something for so long until it just becomes old.
Yeah.
Like Chappelle should have learned that with his trans material, because at first when he like did his comeback and everything, it was funny. Then after a while, it's like, this is becoming weird and obsessive. It's like, just calm down a bit. Like, you've done jokes about trans people. Now it's just becoming not really funny and just obsessive.
It's funny because he's so undeniably funny that I think people just like are like mad that he's not hacky. Because if he was just not funny, and you go, well, these trans jokes are stupid because his jokes suck. But when he does like the trans jokes and then he does jokes that actually make you laugh,
Yeah.
you're like, oh my god, I wish it was just across the board trans jokes. So that
Yeah.
but it's like he's so like prolifically funny that it's hard to deny that. It's like when that stuff with Louis happened and
Yeah.
people were like, he was never funny. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Because you're just kind of rewriting history. Everybody thought he was funny
Oh, yeah.
like a week ago.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you found that out and you're like, I never thought he was funny.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I heard something about Pete Holmes said something like that about Louis, where it's just like, yeah, I always like never really liked him very much. Pete Davidson like hates Louis, but he has like a personal reason for it.
Yeah.
Because Louis tried to get him fired from SNL, according to Pete Davidson, because he was smoking weed, and Louis is like, he's throwing his whole career away. And
now Pete Davidson's sober from pot because it was causing him psychosis.
Yeah.
And he's like, maybe Louis onto something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should actually thank him.
Yeah.
I don't think getting him fired would have really helped him out that much.
I had that one. We were talking about rape jokes.
Yeah.
I had that one years ago that this girl got really mad about.
Oh yeah. Actually, I don't know if it was yesterday or a couple days ago. I want you to actually tell me that because I've never heard you actually. If you can remember it, that Spider-Man rape joke, because I want to hear it. So.
Oh, that's a different rape joke, but yeah, I'll do both.
Yeah.
The one that I did live that got me in trouble with this lady.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Youngstown, right?
Yeah. I said my girlfriend said she doesn't want to have sex until we get married, but she probably just means consensual. And I did that, and everybody laughed except this one woman. And then I move on to the next joke, and I look to the edge of the stage, and she's standing there just glaring at me, and I'm like, "Everything okay?" And she's like, "I just want to point out that you did a very offensive rape joke." And I was like, "I just want to point out that everybody laughed," and then they clapped, like laughed and clapped.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Well, speaking of rape, I got another rape joke," and then I just kept doing rape jokes until her whole table left.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one you're talking about is when I was dating this girl, and I did John Brown's podcast, where you're talking about jokes that don't work anymore.
Yeah.
And I did the one about Spider-Man. I was like, Spider-Man never has to fight anybody that's like really evil. It's always just like rich people that want to control the world.
Yeah.
But they're never like, Spider-Man, your new villain arrived. His name is the Hangman. And it's like, oh, is he called that because he hangs like from buildings and stuff? And they're like, no, he's called that because he abducts women. He imprisons them in his basement. He rapes them until they get pregnant. He makes them carry the baby at full term. And then as soon as they start giving birth and the baby's head starts crowning, he hangs the woman from the basement. So she's dangling there and the baby's head sticking out of her vagina just screaming. And Spider-Man's like, you need to call the police. Why are you calling me? Were Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman busy? Holy shit. And they're like, what kind of costume does he have? Just a regular shirt and jeans? Oh my God, he's insane. Why is he like this? Did he get is it like radioactive outer space toxic waste? And they're like, no, apparently his mother raped him when he was a child, and the murders are symbolic of him killing his mother while also being trapped inside of her womb. And Spider-Man's like, all right, well, I'm going to go fight Topher Grace. You guys figure this shit out, whatever this is. But I did that bit on the podcast because it was like, why aren't jokes working? And then Bob McClure was like, I got a pretty good idea why that doesn't work. and I was like, yeah, me too. And then the girl I was dating, I went over to her house afterwards, and she was like, so I listened to that podcast, and that was pretty disturbing. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, that Spider-Man joke? That was really disgusting and disturbing. And I was like, yeah, I mean, the good news is it didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
But it is pretty disturbing. And she's like, well, I have a son and I got to be mindful of who I have around him. And if I have people around my son that have thoughts like that in their head. And she turned it into this whole I'm a bad person because I have a good imagination type. And I was like, no, I mean, it's just a funny joke that doesn't work because it's dark. It's not something I do all the time. And she's like, well, can you promise never to do that joke? And I said, well, I might do it now just for this bit because if you're going to break up with me over it, that's going to be a funny story I could tell on stage. So I might bring the joke back. And then she got mad about that and broke up with me over text message.
Aw.
But that's the one joke that actually got me broken up with.
Then like a week later, you started dating Cam.
Yeah, well, actually, it was yeah, was it? Yeah, that was like August, and then I started dating Cam around December.
And who initiated it first, you or Cam?
Cam messaged me on. She messaged me. She was at a wine tasting.
And she was probably drunk, and she's like,
Well,
I really liked him.
Well, I had a script that was about it was like a hitman script. It was like 10 pages long, and there had to be like a wife in it.
Yeah.
And I sent Cam the script, and I was like, "Would you want to act in this if we filmed it?"
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Okay." And then like a month or so later is when she like messaged me randomly, and then we started dating after that. But yeah, I've never really been the one to initiate anything with a woman. It's always been like, because I don't know how to talk to them.
Yeah. Same.
So basically, if I'm dating someone, then they probably like said something first.
Yeah.
Because I assume that women just aren't attracted to me. And then even when they say that they are, I'm just like, stop lying. And then they basically have to like force themselves into dating me before I can believe it. And then even while I'm dating them, I'm like, this is not going to last. She's not into this.
Yeah.
So it's just like being very hard on yourself, but also like, like trying to believe people when they say that they love you.
Yeah. And then she was this real, or were you just joking on Facebook when she heard about that Spider-Man rape joke, Cam, and she's like, you're like, the difference between my ex-girlfriend and my new girlfriend is that the other one's like, don't do that joke anymore, and the new one's like, don't do it at my open mic.
Oh yeah, Cam, like she was like, just don't do that at Imposters and we're fine. And it was like, all right, I can do that.
I mean, it's not really that bad of a joke. Like, it's not really like, oh, this is just like shock value to be shock value, because there are like people that are like legitimately fucking wacko out there, and if superpowers are real, that might be a thing people would do. So
yeah, the premise of it is like sound, because it's like, okay, the Penguin, but that's not a guy like talking like a penguin isn't like evil. I mean, he might do some criminal shit, but it's like, he's like, Batman. It's like, okay, you eat fish raw, but that doesn't mean you're a super crazy person. But if like Batman had to fight like John Doe from Seven, that would be very scary.
Like a lot of the superhero characters, like from the 40s and 50s and 60s and even 70s, a lot of them were kind of campy. Like, I like what they did with the Riddler for Batman, Robert Pattinson, because they made him like a straight up serial killer. Like, because the Riddler, if you see him in other media, like usually in the comics, fucking corny as hell. He's like, riddle me this, and he has that like very campy outfit with the question marks and everything as a cane. But like for the Batman, like it's like, oh, this guy looks legitimate. It's crazy. I mean, his outfit's not really great or anything, but it's kind of appropriate for like the type of character they were going for that.
Yeah, a lot of Batman villains I feel like are just David Bowie.
Yeah.
Where it's like that's just how he is. You gotta deal with it, or not whatever.
I mean, there were some like villains that became like a little bit more depraved. Like there's a villain that they came out with in the 21st century called Mr. Pig and Dr. Frog, in which these are like I think the frog is actually a frog, like a humanoid frog or something like that. And Mr. Pig's actually like just a guy that has like a pig outfit on, and he's like basically a straight up serial killer. And I believe, from what I recall, Joker actually finds him terrifying. Which, that says a lot, because Joker is, he's a serial killer himself.
Yeah, I never really liked it, because it's like the superhero stuff, first of all, it's like gone on for a really long time.
Yeah, it becomes tiring after
a while. It's like, okay, when Thanos like snaps his fingers and everybody dies, everyone's like, that's evil. But it's like, I've always been like, imagine if Thanos snapped his fingers and only Jews died. That would be so much more evil. Because then they'd be like, that's what a racist piece of shit.
Yeah, because with half of the people dying, it becomes very indiscriminate.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the villains, like in like Marvel and DC, You never really have Hitler like kind of people like I hate this one group of people and I want them dead. I mean, you might have that with like in Aquaman because Aquaman has a brother named Ocean Master, and he's genocidal towards like land dwellers. He wants land dwellers to be wiped out and everything. I guess over the years, Ocean Master has become more tamed. They kind of tamed that down after a while because like he's the hero's brother. They need to kind of redeem him some way and everything. And he does have like a cool like look and everything. And his motivations are more like realistic.
And as soon as they started doing like Aquaman, I'm like they're running out of like stuff now.
Yeah, I think they should just like I've seen Infinity War, and I really liked it because it ended on like a dark note. He just fucking wipes out half of the galaxy's population. I didn't see Endgame, but from what I know from Endgame, they could just ended it after that. But no, Disney wanted its cash cow. They just wanted to keep on getting that fucking cash out of Marvel. So they're like, no, we're not going to end it on a good note. We're just going to fucking keep on milking this and milking this and milking this. And it's like, no, you guys should just stop.
Who has that joke? It's a local comedian. He has a joke about like, if you hate a particular group of people, you're like evil. But if you hate everybody, you're fine. Who has that joke?
Huh.
I think
I've heard of that.
Oh yeah, I think it's Daniel P. Myers.
Oh yeah, it is Daniel. It is Daniel.
Yeah.
And it's something that he would come up with,
Uh-huh.
and what have you. And also, there was a third time I actually got a biggest laugh ever, and it's something that was just a one-off because it was a roast. It was the only roast I did, which, if you don't recall, in late 2024, so I was at East End and Bistro when they brought that back for the mic. I was outside in the back with Brandon Petrie and Jimmy Killius, and we're just fucking around and talking and whatnot. And I don't know. I ended up bringing up, and I had this idea for a while. I'm like, I want to roast John Brown. I want to do that, and I think I brought this up to Brandon, which I was like, I want take it with me doing a middle finger and send it to John and say I challenge him to a roast battle. And what have he did that, and John's like, "What do you want me to get canceled?" And it's Vaughn. Like you should know my sensibilities. I'm not going to care. And I guess like Jeremy and Kyle and all of them, they didn't want to do that at first, but I guess I was egging on Facebook about it because every once in a while like posts them like, I want this to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually Chris Powell ends up messaging me on Instagram. And he's like, you still want to roast John, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, we're going to do it then. And about a day later, John messages me. He's like, oh, well, what you wanted went through. And it went through. And we did it in December of 2024. John almost couldn't make it because he wasn't feeling well. But I guess he's like, I'm going to push forward and just make it. I was one of the very first people there. And we were up there and whatnot, and I got a bunch of stuff written down. But the joke that got the biggest laugh, and I had this idea before, but I didn't I didn't get reminded of it until I was like driving to work that day. Because earlier I had to work, and then that show didn't happen until like 10 o'clock at night, and I only worked from like 11 to 7, so it was perfect. I could just come back home, eat dinner, and what have you. So I was getting close to work, and I am thinking of this joke. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm like, this is probably a perfect thing to do. And made it even better because Bill Stone was there, and he's like part of the joke as well. And the fact that Bill, back in that December, he was still a little bit heavier. So we were doing the roast, and I say before, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to do this. But I'm like, I'm going to say this. And I'm like, I remember... a while back, John Brown called Alex DeCorville my brother. I think that's unfair because the only reason why I said that is because, we're both autistic. That's like if I called Bill Stone John Brown's brother because, they're both shitty comedians. And I got a fucking huge-ass laugh.
That's funny.
And Bill Stone, he was laughing. He took it in good stride. He got a big ass laugh, and
That's a great joke.
oh yeah.
Did you won that battle, right?
No, John won.
No,
he was more consistent than me. That's why he won. But I came close.
What was one of John's jokes about you?
The one was kind of a play on my the incest joke I do, in which it was something like I came it was something because I only have had sex once and I didn't come and what have you, and that happens like sometimes, like it's not going to be magical when you're going at it like and what have you, because there's nerves. That's why sometimes that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And what have you, and it was something along the lines. He would do more justice than me, but he said that like, oh, Vaughn's only had sex once and he didn't come, and I'm sure if he did come afterwards, he'd be like, thanks, Mom. It was something like that.
Just to play off your joke.
Yeah, because I know John. That joke right there was John was one of the very first people I told that joke to, because that was based on something else, an old idea, which it did have to do with breasts, but it wasn't like incest at all. The old idea was something like, because I was going through my journal and going through old ideas and trying to kind of rewrite them and try to work them into my act. And the old idea was that because back when I was in high school, I had a group of friends that had a little like classic rock band. They're not really a band anymore. They basically drift away from that.
Yeah.
The guitarist, he still does music stuff and what have you. But he, I had an idea in which, like, they were doing a breast cancer awareness show, and they were performing, and you had women basically, flipping their tops, but when they're flipping their tops, they're like, cancer kind of damaged boobs, something like that. And I thought that was funny, and then I was like, kind of like, I rewrote that, and I was sharing that around, and I shared it to Brian Gallagher, and Brian's like, I can see the humor in it, but I can see people being kind of thinking that's in bad taste and everything. And I'm like, okay, and then it was back when I was doing acting classes in Kent, and I was driving out there, and I started thinking about that bit, and it just kind of organically just involved into that bit.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know how I did it, but I managed to just have it evolve into that. Just probably with the breast, like just flashing the breast, and then like with the like probably because with rock star and music things, they'll sign the breast. And probably through that, like I was thinking, and like, oh, I have an idea here, and I messaged it to John because I probably typed it in my notes or probably typed it to him right away, and he's like, oh, I really like that, and that's how that came around. Another joke that kind of happened like that was the womb joke I do. My mom, I went out binge drinking with my mom, and I'll tell the joke. The joke is my mom took me out binge drinking once. I can't remember it though because I was in the womb.
Oh yeah, I remember that joke.
And that's the last joke I came up with that still like is sticking in. Like that's like the last new joke I did that stuck into my act. Like, all right, this is a keeper. And how that came around was that I was in my bed over there. I was tossing and turning, trying to go to sleep. And there's two jokes I was thinking of. And there were elements of that joke that just merged together and then just formed into that. So I'll tell you the jokes. The first one's from a local comic, Gary Campbell, which he has a joke, and it's a really great joke in which it was something along the lines of, he's like, oh, I did crack cocaine for 9 months, and then my mom gave birth to me. It's something like that. So I thought about that, like abusing drugs while you're pregnant. Started thinking of that. And then when we saw Louis C.K. last year in March, he had that joke in which he's like, oh, I want he's talking about like breastfeeding and whatnot with babies, and then he goes on to like, oh, like I bit my mom's boob once. I can't remember it though because I was drunk. Is that, and like those two concepts kind of merged together, and I created that joke out of that.
Yeah, that's what's great about stand-up is it's like it's not one thing that inspires you. It's just like you form jokes from like 3 or 4 different events, and you just kind of merge them. It's like a cool thing to witness.
And it's kind of like a pastiche, as they call it. I mean, I'm sure you've had that, in which there's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 jokes from like 2 or 3 separate comedians, and there's like ideas that you kind of just stitch together, and like, ooh, this is actually pretty good.
Actually, your boob joke about signing boobs inspired a joke that I've never done on stage because I don't think I can get away with it. But it was man, I did a breast cancer benefit the other day.
Yeah.
And I signed 5 tits. And I just don't think that people will laugh at that because either they won't know like, oh, he's doing an uneven number of boobs because they lost a boob.
Yeah.
But like, or they'll get it and they'll be like, that's not funny because it's about like breast cancer. But your joke actually did make me come up with that, and I was like, oh man, I wish I could do that on stage, but it's one of those ones that would never work.
And it's kind of like the opposite of me because that's kind of like, you got inspired by that joke, but that joke was inspired by an older bit of mine, which was like a breast cancer concert.
That's why it was funny when you brought up the breast cancer thing, and I was like, oh, that's funny because I had a breast cancer signing boobs joke, and those two things kind of combined.
Yeah, and there's another joke last year I came up with. It was the first show I did at Cork and Cap, and it did not go well. I mean, I got some laughs, but overall it didn't really go well. And and GW, she went on stage and she crushed. And usually when you like don't do well and other people are doing well, you feel very bad and everything. Mm-hmm. And I was feeling bad, and there's like and I'm sure you've had this countless times. There's this lady like probably 50 or 60 something years old. She comes up to me, and before she starts talking to me, she puts out her hand. She shakes my hand, and she's like, "You need to stop doing one-liners. You need to start doing stories." And I'm like, I like doing one-liners. Like it's my thing. And then it was very condescending.
Yeah.
And whatnot. She's like, you gotta be like everyone else and do stories. I'm like, no, that's not how things work.
I got one of those audience members in Geneva. I did a show like years ago with, I think it was Jason Walterno, Aaron Scardina, and Anthony Mayo, and then me. Mm-hmm. And she told like at the end of the show, she told Jason like, you were hilarious. And then she told Aaron, she's like, you were hilarious. And then she told Anthony like, you were hilarious. And then she looked at me and she's like, you started off slow, but then you like picked it up. And I was like, why do you just say like, you guys were hilarious and then walk away?
Yeah.
Why do you got to make me feel bad?
Yeah.
Because of that. And then so I got offended because I'm just like, why did you just say the same thing to me that you said to them?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm just being honest. And I said, yeah, but that's not constructive. You're just saying like, oh, you were not as good as these 3. And then you're going to walk away. And she's like, I don't know why you're offended. I'm like, all right, well, what if I said like, hey, you're a good audience member. You're a good audience member. You were bad at the end, but you started off like really good. She's like, all right, well, I guess you don't want my help. I've helped many comedians. I'm sure you've helped a comedian in Geneva become super successful.
I think I saw you post on Facebook once.
Oh, about that?
Yeah, I think that rings a bell.
Yeah.
Later that night I was like feeling bad, and so I started like I don't know thinking of stuff, and I had a lot of woodpeckers around by me because there's like a lot of them will just go away, and so I thought about like a woodpecker and a Morse code joke, and that was partly inspired by a joke that Emo Phelps would do, in which he said that he was like walking home one day, and there was some like construction workers working or like people building a house, and he's like, one of them was like hammering away, and he yelled at me, he's like, you're a little weirdo in Morse code. And I really liked that, and I always wanted to do something like with Morse code like that. So I did that joke because it's changed now, and the change has made it better. I did that joke, and it would not always get great laughs and whatnot. And then I found out that there's some other jokes I found out on the internet that do end in like a woodpecker and then Morse code. And I'm like, all right, let's like just switch these 2 around. Let's have like the Morse code first, and then have the revelation as a woodpecker. Yeah. And that's worked a lot better.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you just switch it around, the the idea for the setup, like that one piece idea of the setup and the idea for the punchline, if you just switch it around, sometimes it works a lot better. And also, if it's the other way around, it's like, it might be called for plagiarism. But like, if I just do that, it's no longer plagiarism.
Yeah, it's like a Memento, where it starts at the ending and then ends at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of that stuff it like hits depending on like the word you're using.
Yeah.
Like Gary Goldman has a lot of tips about that, where you just end the joke with like the funniest or the strongest word, and then that like usually gets the laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Gary Goldman. We were talking about comedians. He's another like underrated comic that's really good.
Oh yeah.
And Todd Barry. I've been getting into Todd Barry a lot lately.
Yeah, I know who Todd Barry is. He was on a bunch of episodes of Louis.
Yeah. They were really close, but then Louis, I think it was after the scandal, he kind of like stopped. At least as far as I know, they stopped being like friends. Because in those last couple Louis specials, he had special thanks to people.
Yeah.
So you go through the list of people he thanked, and then that's how you know like who was supporting him. And he didn't have like Todd Barry on that list, so I don't know if it was because he was supportive, but Todd was like, "Don't put me on like a list or anything like that." But I mean, either way, Todd Barry's really funny. I never really like got into him until recently. But his like joke writing is so strong.
Oh yeah. He I remember after I think it was the first or second special that Louis came out with after that controversy. He's like, the one group of people I like to thank the most that helped me get out of this rough that I was in was black people.
Yeah.
And so I know he thanked Vernon Chapman, and Vernon Chapman, he's done a lot of things with Louis. They've collaborated with a lot, and he's half black. But he's the whitest half black guy ever. I did a video about him on YouTube.
I remember that video. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my second highest viewed video, and what have you. And he has a bit of a cult following with himself. He's done a lot of work with other people, with Louis, and then he works on South Park. He's a writer on that. He voices Tally on South Park.
Oh, he does?
Yeah,
oh,
that's
nice.
his voice.
That's crazy.
And he's done his own like little projects because he has his own art collective called PFFR, and I don't think they've done anything in a while. The last thing they did was an anthology dark comedy called The Shivering Truth. It was on Netflix, not Netflix, Adult Swim, and it was claymation, so it was expensive. Like each episode cost like $400,000 to make.
Oh,
and because claymation is expensive, because you have to make these miniatures and you have to like take pictures of them at like certain moments. Like, all right, it's doing this, gotta move it like that, take a picture, then move it like that, take a picture, and then with all these photos, you basically make a movie and whatnot, and whatever the way they do it and whatnot. It's a really great show, though. Shivering Truth. They only did 2 seasons, but it was really good. And Vernon's, he wrote for South Park and a bunch of stuff for Louis. He did that I Love You, Daddy, who co-wrote that with Louis. He's in, like, if you see the co-writer, that's Vernon in it. And then he's writing a movie. He wrote a movie with Trey Parker, Matt Stone, and Kendrick Lamar that's coming out this year.
Oh, yeah. What was that movie again?
I forget the name of it. It's something that's black related, like something Black American related, which explains because Kendrick's in there.
Yeah.
And also, Vernon's half black, and also Vernon's also the type of half black guy that not only is he the whitest half black guy ever, he has blue eyes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has blue eyes. Which I don't know if I've come across plenty of people that are like half black or have some European ancestry in them, and they have blue eyes.
What percentage of like 100% black people have blue eyes?
I'm sure it's a small percentage, but I've come across people that have some black people that have European ancestry that have blue eyes.
How many black people have blue eyes?
Of course, brown eyes are the dominant.
Just 4 people. No, I don't know. It says
like, well, I know all of them.
No, it says there's no exact number for how many black people have blue eyes, but it's rare, often resulting from European ancestry in their family history, though it can also occur through genetic conditions like Waardenburg syndrome or specific ancestral populations like the Ari tribe in Ethiopia. While most black individuals have dark brown eyes, blue eyes in black people are a natural variation due to genetics, showing the diverse nature of human ancestry. Look
Neat.
at that.
Learning stuff.
Look at that. I might be black because I don't have blue eyes.
Well, genetically, most human beings have brown eyes. Blue is the second, but that's primarily European. That's a European phenomenon, and most of the world's not European.
I'm just now finding out I'm not black.
I mean, I'm part black. I'm an eighth black. My grandfather's half black.
Oh yeah, you got that joke about that, right?
Yeah, I don't do it anymore because I really didn't. I guess people really didn't get that. Like, I don't know what it was, but
I feel like if you were more visibly like black, you could do that joke, but people kind of might think that you're just making that up to do the joke.
Yeah, because I do. Like, I have a lot of like anecdotal stuff, so they might not think that, and because you'll get like once you hear my stuff, it's like, all right, all this stuff is not true.
Yeah.
And what have you. And that just comes from like a Stephen Wright kind of thing. Because I'm boring, so I don't have any exciting things that have happened to me that I can use as jokes like you. So I just kind of make shit up and what have you and use as a joke. And I know a while back in late 2023, I did a show at Funny Stop. And I was like, pretty much got the best reaction out of all the comics. And then we had a comic circle afterwards in which we were critiquing each other, and I won't name names, but they all started hammering down on me, which, I mean, the one critique, there was two critiques. The one was valid, which I need to write more jokes. All right, that's a valid critique. The other one was, they're like, your stuff is not real.
Oh, that's not a good critique.
Yeah, it's like, well, haven't you, like, watched Stephen Wright? His shit is not real either. Or, like, you know, Tarantino, is his stuff real?
Yeah, if Mitch Hedberg only did jokes about things that really happened, he wouldn't have any jokes.
Basically, or B, I won't have any jokes. Yeah, that's not a good critique. It's like, oh, you guys don't watch a lot of comedy, do you? Or watch a lot of entertainment, because there's a lot of like entertainers that they just fucking make shit up and what have you. And like even sketch shows, like, oh, this sketch actually happened in real life, getting abducted by aliens. But yeah, that's not a critique at all. It's like,
do you ever get people that think that your jokes are like real, as like off the wall as that some of them are? You ever get anybody that's like, did that really happen?
Not really. Very rarely. I think that may have happened only once or twice. It's very rarely happened because I think people get the kind of sense after a while, like, all right, this is not true. This man has never had a girlfriend.
It's like the opposite. It's like the opposite with me, where people don't believe things I'm saying. Like I have that like 15-minute PetSmart bit,
yeah,
and I still get people afterwards like, "You don't really work at PetSmart, do you?" And I'm like, "Why would I just make up a 15-minute bit about working at PetSmart if I didn't actually work there?"
Yeah.
But it's like it's funny what some people think is real and then what some people think is fake on stage. Where like, you should be able to tell, but whatever.
Yeah, it's people are complex.
Like I had a stuffy nose one time years ago when I did a show, and then somebody after the show was like, "Is that your gimmick? You're just like you're like the stuffy nose like comic." I'm like, "Yeah, I make sure I get sick before I do shows. So I can stick with that gimmick."
That's funny.
It's like, why would that ever be a thing?
Yeah, I mean, like every comic like has a gimmick they go for. Like, you know, there's some gimmick in some sort of comedian that does things. I mean, because there's people that look down upon gimmicks. Like every like entertainer has some sort of gimmick.
Yeah.
Like something like a unique quality to them that makes them them. Essentially.
Yeah, like Gallagher smashing watermelons.
But that's well, I mean, as far as I know, because I know Carrot Top, and there's some comics that actually like Gallagher. And Carrot Top's not really that bad either if you actually watch his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really had a huge problem with Carrot Top. I just haven't watched a lot of his comedy, but
yeah, like a lot of his stuff is like inventions. A lot of people like he went on a podcast and they think like, oh, you're a Seesaw from Family Guy bit, and it's a pun basically. And like, if you really actually watch Carrot Top's comedy, it really doesn't do puns. It's a lot of his stuff is just inventions and what have you. And like little silly, quirky inventions. Now with Gallagher, yeah, you could say there's puns there, but with Carrot Top, it's not much puns.
That's another thing about comedy that's I think made me like a better person in general, is that before I did comedy, I would like see Carrot Top not being funny, or
Yeah.
at least what I thought wasn't funny, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, he's not funny. But then when you start doing stand up, you realize like, oh, everybody's equally funny and not funny depending on who's watching them.
Yeah.
So it's like I could say Carrot Top. I don't think Carrot Top's funny,
Yeah.
but he sells out shows in Las Vegas, so clearly he's funny to like
Yeah.
a lot of people. So it's like I think over the years I've just realized that I got to be more like, okay, instead of giving like a definitive opinion on this,
Yeah.
like I would say I think Larry the Cable Guy is not funny, but
Yeah.
but I would never say like he's definitely 100% not funny, because clearly he has an audience.
Yeah.
And people care about what he does. And I think there's this idea that the more people your comedy is like relatable for is like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're able to make, like they say with clean comics, that like, oh, you got to write clean because you want more people to like you. And I think that like some people see that as a negative. Like you shouldn't be able to make everybody laugh.
Yeah.
But that is like a skill to be able
Yeah.
to do that. But I also feel like with clean comedy, there's a lot of stuff that you're hiding from like
Yeah.
people, or like your personality. Like to me, the perfect
Cosby.
comic is able to do both.
Yeah.
But I feel like some of them are, like Brian Regan's really clean.
Yeah.
But I feel like if Brian Regan wanted to be dirty, he could also do that also.
Yeah.
But it's a long conversation, but I feel like the point of it is that comedy is doing stand up has made me like less critical of people. I'm like
Yeah.
able to see why people have fans and stuff like that, and I wasn't able to see that before.
Yeah, maybe you could become friends with those people later down the road. Like, you know, if I ever become a professional comic, I mean, I don't think I will ever become famous.
Yeah.
I'll be fine just being behind the scenes kind of guy,
Yeah.
doing stand up or just doing acting stuff or writing for shows or whatever. I wouldn't mind, like, you know, hanging out with Dane Cook. I mean, I don't think really Dane Cook's the funniest guy around, but he seems like a fairly decent person. And I'm like, I wouldn't mind just hanging around with you. And, you know, I've seen some stuff he's on, and like, he doesn't seem that bad of a person. I mean, I don't think he's the funniest guy around. He's not really my thing, but I don't think he's that bad. I mean, Carlos Mencia, that's kind of that's a line.
Yeah, I think Retaliation came out like 2005, Dane Cook, and I think that was like my introduction into stand-up at that point.
Yeah, he was as well to me. Like he was really kind of like the first stand comedian I watched and whatnot, and I did find him funny and everything. I really liked his Kool-Aid bit, which I think that is actually still funny. That Kool-Aid bit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. It's like, oh no.
Oh yeah, what was that about the? Was that the Speak and Spell joke, or is that a different one?
I think that's a different one in which he's like, because it was something like the joke in which he's just bursting through walls.
Oh yeah.
And he just randomly does that, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? If my dad sees this when he gets home, he's going to beat me with a belt.
It's funny because I think that was also a Family Guy cutaway, but that would have been after
Yeah.
Dane Cook. So, or what? Maybe it would have been before, because Family Guy was like what, 1999, and then it like went away for a bunch of years.
Yeah, for a few years.
In like 2005 or something like that.
Yeah, I think they came back in 2003 or 4. Because what happened was that Family Guy went on for 3 seasons. The first one was 7 episodes. Second one was like a standard, like 22, 24. Same with 3. Then they had like controversy with season 3 episode, which it was the Jewish one, which Peter ends up getting a Jewish lawyer and everything. And that caused controversy. But that's on, like, I have the 3rd season of Family Guy down there somewhere, and it's in there. It's like, it's part of the collection.
Yeah.
And then they canceled it after that. I guess it wasn't doing good in ratings either, or something like that. They canceled it, and then Adult Swim picked it up, and it was getting fucking good ratings on Adult Swim. People were loving it, and I do think those early seasons of Family Guy are great. They're like really, really solid. And then Fox realized, like, oh, we fucked up. This wasn't good. So they, they eventually started airing new episodes of Family Guy on Fox. They kept Family Guy, of course, on Adult Swim because they could get more money that way. Because it seems like more people watch Family Guy through Adult Swim than Fox, anyways.
That was one of the best jokes. Was when Family Guy came back that first episode, and he's
yeah.
like, "Bad news, family, we've been canceled."
Uh-huh.
And Lois was like, "Oh no, is there any hope, Peter?" He's like, "Well, I guess if like The Tick." Movie, and then he just kept going, and he reads like a list of shows that all got canceled.
Yeah.
He's like, I guess if all those shows go in the toilet, we got a chance.
And they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that episode as well somewhere in there. That happened, and then Futurama happened the same way. Futurama got canceled after 4 seasons, and then they put it on Adult Swim. I think around that same time, they also did like the 4 movies, but they also broke those movies up like in 4-part episodes within those movies, and then used that as season 5. And then, because Futurama was getting high ratings on Adult Swim, they decided to bring it back, but not through Fox, because I think their lineup was stacked, and there wasn't like enough money to go around to put it back on the lineup for having new episodes, so they put it on Comedy Central. Yeah,
I remember that changed. Futurama is one of those shows that I liked, but then it kept changing days and times, and I lost track of how when it was on. So I stopped watching it because I couldn't figure out when it was on.
Yeah, they had it for like 3 more seasons on Comedy Central, and then Comedy Central, I guess, was getting new like original shows, so they had to cut it, and so they canceled it for a second time, and then. We got streaming services now, so Hulu picked it up, and back in 2023, I think they picked it up for a new season, and all right, back to basics. Yeah, like when I watched it when it came back for a second time, this feels like it's back to normal, basically.
So is it still running new episodes on Hulu?
Yeah, they just came out with I think 10 new episodes last year.
Oh wow!
And what have you? Yeah, that was the last thing I watched. Bootlegged on my iPad that we're on right now.
Just a nice iPad.
It is. I've had it since December of 2022.
Look at that.
Yeah. Since you gotta visit your mom tonight, which probably won't be until we get there after 9 because I got those 3 episodes of The Simpsons to show you. We might as well end it right now.
It was a good. I think we had a good talk.
Yeah, we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
I love spending time with you, Tim.
It's been fun.
I was being genuine when I made that post last week. It was really great seeing you because I think it's been a hot minute since I saw you before last week.
Oh yeah.
And it was a gleeful surprise when I saw you.
Yeah, I'm glad we. I know it probably would have been easier for you to just have me download the app and do it over the app, but I'm glad we got to hang out. That's cool.
Yeah, because sometimes one-on-one person is better than over online. I mean, that can be convenient because you can just all right, we're done and end it, and then go on our ways at our places. But it's nice to hang out. Yeah, you get to be at my nice house.
It is a nice house. How long did we do that for?
An hour and 37 right now.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, this is longer than the one I did with Marcus. Edelstein.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did that I believe in March or April of last year, and I didn't get it uploaded until May or June because I had to use my old laptop for that. But now I just use my mom's desktop to download stuff. So yeah. Well, guys,
thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah. This is one last thing I have to say. You got a Freddy Krueger sweatshirt.
Yeah, it's like a Freddy Krueger, Kurt Cobain combo sweater.
Yeah.
Either way, something's going on with my face. Either burns or blood.
I was about to say, is there any brains on there?
Yeah. No, I like this. This was a Christmas gift.
So. Oh, well, that does look Christmassy because it's a sweatshirt, and you always associate sweatshirts with cold or snow.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
All right, we'll see you guys. This will be on YouTube probably this week. I'll see you. Have a good one. I think it's ended. Oh, no, it's not.